I remember watching one runner's stream. They had to use that because they lost a bet, and it's really hard to set up tricky bomb jumps. But this is the first time I've seen the eggplant sprite, and I can't imagine that's any easier. I wonder if these players made a little side bet to purposely pick difficult to use sprites.
In glancing at the race they had a couple days ago, this is what they used. So this is kind of, I guess, the direction they want to go with this. Because the walking animation and the walking animations for both are just weird.
They're super cute sprites. And I guess if you play them enough, you get used to them. I'm a Final Fantasy fan. I use Vivi as my sprite, so seeing another Final Fantasy sprite is always fun. Open mode, both players get to choose whether they want to start at Link's house or the Sanctuary, and both of them went to do the the uncle check first. Nice similar routing decisions. I guess the small key there in the Sanctuary, so that means we're going to find all the items and the map in the sewers.
So that looked like Desert was blue and 3 and 7 on Eastern Hera. So both runners were using a pretty, well, Solski's not using a normal obese, he was carrying a fish. I think his idea might have been to carry a fish to the bottle vendor, maybe? I don't know. But he's going to bypass the Lumberjack, which Leyra's going to check and see 3 bombs.
That's interesting. It looks like he was trying to take the fish to the bottle vendor, like you said, and normally you get a large rupee stash from turning that in. But I wonder if the fact that was a randomized, endomizer fish, as opposed to a real fish, made it so you couldn't carry it across screens. I've never seen it before. I've never seen anyone try to take a randomized fish across maps before. Leyra was able to come across one of the rupee hoarder guys, and he had his big 20s this time, so that's a nice prize. We saw the first triple prize was just arrows. So getting some extra rupees is going to be a nice bonus for Leyra. Oh, Solski was able to carry the fish this time, so I wonder what happened last time.
Yeah, maybe his finger slipped. He dropped it again. I think that was because the roller hit him. But if he can get the fish to the bottle vendor, I think it's $100 or 100 rupees. Oh no, just a prize pack. Oh, the golden bee is 100 rupees. That's what it is.
Oh, that's a pretty nice prize pack.
They got 8 bombs.
The 8 bombs is gonna, yeah. Very, very nice bomb find for Leyra there, right at the beginning of Blind's hut. And 3 more. That's very fortuitous.
There's our money problems mostly resolved. But yeah, you'll see sometimes people carry the fish all the way up from South Shore to try and get whatever's in those prize packs.
Yeah, Solski's gonna have to remember to actually go back to the bottle vendor, because he didn't get the bottle vendor's item, he just got the fish prize.
Right, because Solski didn't do the bush crab thing, so he didn't have 100 when he got to him. So hopefully he remembers.
Yeah, Leyra definitely got lucky finding 3 bombs in 2 of those chests there. Going to the well first would have been a backtrack, and the Moon Pearl. Wow, that's definitely value there. That's worth 100 rupees. Solski remembering to also pick that up. So they're both safe.
We rolling in it now.
So I gotta tell you, I'm a fan of. I've really become a fan of the all dungeons mode. This is just a defeat Ganon mode. So it's collect your 7 crystals and kill Ganon. The all dungeons mode requires you to also clear all 3 pendant dungeons and Aga 1, and I've really started to like that mode in particular, just because of, I guess I'm a completionist, but I think in a swordless mode, an Randomizer, it would also kind of make the game a little bit more consistent because you're going to have to visit all the locations. There's a little bit more of a gamble opportunity, in this particular seed.
Half magic sitting up on the library. It's gonna be interesting to see if either runner decides to come back for that, because when you don't have a sword, magic can be your best friend.
Yeah, it depends on when they find the boots. If they're able to come back here in the Dark World, and they have the boots in the mirror, I think that might be worth picking it up. That's for me, though. I think a lot of runners, though, and especially qualifier runners, are probably going to skip it. I mean, it really has to be a convenient pickup.
There is early silver arrows for Solski. That's going to be a huge weight off both runners' minds. That at least at the end of the season, they're not going to have to go digging everywhere for those.
Yeah, with it being swordless, those arrows are going to make a really big difference once they find the bow. Chet points out an interesting fact that the 20 rupee item on the race game means that that would have been a sword if this wasn't a swordless mode. Apparently, the swords get replaced with the 20 rupees, and that's interesting. That's something that I hadn't noticed before.
Oh, this room's not going to be easy. I mean, Solski's got 5 bombs to try and navigate his way through these shadows, but it's going to be really tricky.
Yeah, I don't know the proper name for that particular enemy, but the fact that they can appear at any random location makes them really, really difficult to kill with bombs. Getting the lamp, though, that's a nice prize for... Ooh, that's an unfortunately timed death for Leyra.
So Solski is going to make his way, after a Matrix, he's going to make his way off to the east, off over here to the east side of the continent, and try his hand at Ice Rod Cave. Randomizer being friendly and not putting 1,000 rollers in the way.
Yeah, it looks like Leyra is getting really hounded by those thieves and losing a couple bombs, and bombs are very, very valuable at this point. They have the boomerang, so they can stun certain enemies, and we don't know what the stun price is yet, but most of what they have at the moment is just bombs when it comes to dealing damage. No value there in Ice Rod Cave. We'll see if Solski does a fake flipper at this point and does some of the water area checks, or if we head somewhere else.
Hello, Fire Rod on Leyra's side behind Sahasrahla.
Fire Rod's a very nice find, and looks like Solski is doing the fake flipper, so we'll get to see what's on the island. A hobo check, and because he has the Moon Pearl, we'll probably see the waterfall cave as well. Leyra also giving us a check here on the floating island after buying more bombs, most likely.
Yeah, fake flippering in Randomizer is not actually that common of a strat, just because you never know what could be in the water, and the rules of you take one hit and die still apply to fake. So it was a bit of a risk, but there doesn't seem to be much in here that's troubling Solski. least so far. Although he's got to navigate around this picket. Bye-bye an arrow.
It's fortunately that doesn't kill him, at least. It just steals an arrow.
Contact damage might, though.
Oh, yeah, that one got him. So, fortunately, Solski at least did find the hobo prize, which was just some bombs. Didn't get a chance to see what was on the island on his side, but Leyra showed us that it was just some rupees. So, not any value in the Zora's domain stuff at the moment.
Not a lot of direction from this first pack item so far. We have a lamp, a fire rod, a boomerang, and a moon pearl, which adds up to about nothing so far.
Yeah, Leyra doing a nice job there on that last shadow. Very, very tricky timing. And there was a second sword there in Sashira's HUD as well, with the fire rod. It makes that half magic even more appealing. And with Leyra, you can see already ran through all of their magic trying to kill those shadows. Half magic really would have made a big difference.
So while Leyra makes his way to Ice Rod Cave and may or may not fake flipper, Solski's going to be the first one, it looks like, to try the front of Escape. And probably the back too, with lamp in hand.
Well, having picked up the key from Sanctuary, we know we can do the entire sewer sequence coming in from the front. If we find the mirror, that's going to really save us some time walking back out of here. But there's a lot of items in here at this point, and I don't think there's a more dense item location for Solski to go to. The lamp really opens up the back of Escape here as well.
Right. The big caveat is going to be in all the sewer rooms there's just these little nothing rats. Now there's, well, could be anything. Could be rollers, could be hinoxes, could be all sorts of nastiness down there waiting for Solski when he finishes up in Zelda's cell.
And you might know the answer to this, or I'm sure chat will be able to chime in. But the Lionels that are silver there, are they a different difficulty, or is that just the way that the color palette is making them look? After playing Breath of the Wild, I'm extra scared of silver Lionels.
That's a good call. I'm pretty sure they're just palette swaps, because that's a silver picket, and we know those don't exist. Don't exist in the real game. At least I don't think silver pickets exist.
That's a good point. Same thing with the mimics there. Ooh. So, can you kill this thing with bombs?
And even if not bombs, he had pods.
Yeah, he's probably gonna have to use the pots there. Ooh. And LeyraGG, just little Octoroks there on the river. That is just dodging an Octorok rock and a knight shot him from the ledge, from the shore. That is just so unfair. So both players tried and failed to make it up to the waterfall cave. Leyra not even going to try it again. Looks like we're heading right into Eastern. We already checked Sasha's hut, so this is going to be an Eastern check. And Solski going down to see the sewers.
And Solski actually is going to have a place to go after this, because he found the book in Zelda's cell, which is going to open up Desert Palace. Hello, Stalfos Knight. Welcome to the party.
Desert is a...
And that's a death.
Yeah, that's... Oh, wow. That's just so many high-end enemies there in the basement. Crowding around you. But he's going to give another shot. Desert, not a bad play. We have the 2 fire sources. So if we find the mitts, then we can at least get to the boss. And we'll get a chance to find out if it's a boots locked desert, which might let us know if we're going to get those another shot at that half magic. So there's a lot of information that we can find in a desert trip, but without the gloves, you can't finish it. And if we did find the gloves, then I'd say probably head up to Death Mountain or maybe somewhere else rather than desert. So let's see what's here in the sewer.
So, wow, that's a lot of guards on Solski's end. So, a question in chat for the enemies: do they still do the damage of what is originally there, or of the new enemy that is there? And the answer to that is they do their own damage. So so a Hinox will do whatever damage it would normally do. A guard, you're getting that enemy as it is. So it can be painful.
Fortunately, the key rat is still a rat, so it's a quick fire rod shot for Solski to get this key. Just as these 3 chests in the back. 4 hearts, though. This is a scary trek.
Leyra, the first one to find a hint in Eastern Palace. The shield and a map are fire locked in the mire, so which is going to help them route to Mire when they get there. Won't have to do the cutscene chest or anything over on the west side.
Yeah, that's good to know. Solski picking up the real big value though with our first lift upgrade. So now that's absolutely a place that Leyra is going to have to go sooner rather than later. Solski now looks like we're checking the floating island, and where will we go next?
So Glove Lamp Pearl probably means Death Mountain. Get to save the old man. Well, although, we don't have. I don't know. Death Mountain might not be an attractive play just because there's only 2 things you can get there right now. But there really aren't many attractive plays at all at this point.
Yeah, you can get the save and continue point from the old man rescue, so that's kind of nice to have, but that doesn't really help you until you get the flute. This check that he's doing, I do actually think this makes a lot more sense now that I'm thinking about it. You get Gina's Cave and the Desert Ledge as 2 additional items, and then you can check at least 1 or 2 locations in desert. Depending on where the key is located. So there's definitely some value over here. Leyra unfortunately took a really bad death, fairly deep into this dungeon. Has already done the big chest, has the big keys, just has to go get this last chest over here on the left, which is a really long walk. And just mini Helmosaurs. Fortunately, yeah, that room is definitely a lot easier without the anti-fairies there.
And Leyra is going to find our first bottle.
So that does let Leyra do the Sick Kid quest, but that's not a really ideal location. Just a one-off in Kakariko Village. Looks like Leyra is heading into Escape, and this is definitely a good move because this leads to the gloves. Solski is having a lot of trouble avoiding all those thieves. Fortunately, they're the thieves that don't do any damage. They just steal your stuff.
And I believe all thieves are killable, at least in the current Randomizer setup. So if you want your stuff back from them, yes, you can. I think you can burn them or hit them with the sword you don't have, but they're not invincible like some of them are in the regular game.
So there's 300 rupees on the right side of desert. So I think that puts the big key on the torch. So we're not going to be able to see anything in the back. Solski just hitting out the right side here to do a convenient Gina's cave check. And then after this, wow.
Solski can go to Eastern, get his bottle, and those two items in a hit in Death Mountain, and Zora as. I mean, you have to take the long walk there, but it's there.
Yeah, definitely. Oh wow, there's the hammer.
Hammer time.
That changes everything. All right. Now
the world is open, baby.
Hype cave time. So a genius cave, one of those one-off locations that a lot of players tend to not like. The book taking Solski over to desert, definitely really nice. Leyra doing the back of escape gets the gloves, but still has to get the book to be steered over into that desert region.
Yep. So it looks like we got a map check on Solski's side. 5-6 at Thieves and Swamp. The pendants are Skull and Meyer, and I believe Meyer was green.
So that hammer is extra valuable for this particular game mode because this is swordless. So that is going to be the primary weapon. Kina Samaria in Hype Cave. That's really the only nice thing we find there. So there's a little bit of hype, but the hammer, that's our melee weapon. That does our tempered sword damage. We need that to finish the game. And the fire rod is going to be a nice ranged weapon. So other than the low health, Solski's in a pretty nice position right now.
He sure is. He has a lot of options open to him. It looks like he's going to take a peek at the pyramid and maybe catfish. I mean, it's a long walk to get there on one heart, but if he can do it now and get it out of the way.
Well, we were talking earlier about what's required to complete the Palace of Darkness, and the bow is required if you want to get to the boss, which we're gonna have to do. So that might make a runner a little bit more inclined to do some of the overworld locations rather than diving into dungeons. A little bit easier in general, but unfortunately, it takes another hit there. And poor Leyra, out of magic, has to resort to bombs to kill these mummies, and several bombs. I think it's 4 bombs to take one out. We've seen several situations where that half magic would have come in handy already.
Is it 8? It must be 8 because he just did 6 and it was no good. I knew the Gibdos had a lot of health, but holy cow!
Yeah, I guess it is 8, the same as the fighter sword damage required. So unfortunately, Leyra is unable to progress in the dungeon there. That's not going to give them their book from Zelda Cell, which isn't going to lead them over to the desert region.
Yeah, Leyra's route just got a lot less obvious, although he is going to be the first to try Death Mountain.
Yeah, this could be a little bit of a sidetrack, though. That the gloves there, an obvious progression item, so it's going to lead you up here. But Solski, having also found the book, made desert more appealing. So, whoa, that's a lot of BMOSs. That is a scary Death Mountain. So I like what Solski's doing here. You know, wasn't able to go get the pod or catfish because we took a death in the Dark World. This check, all these Village of Outcasts checks, these are 3 nice, easy to get to overworld locations, and we can get into and full clear a very easy Thieves Town.
Leyra pulling off a rare trick by overshooting the cave to Spectacle Rock and ending up jumping all the way down. Not a trick he wanted to pull off, I'm sure. That's more like it. Solski's first item is going to be 20 rupees as he works his way through what might be a little easier Thieves Town, just because it might not have 1,000 Zyzacs or whatever those horse guards are called.
I just call them the horse head guards. So we got a hint there in Spectacle Rock Cave that Ether is in Turtle Rock. So we know right now we're not going to need Ether to get into Turtle Rock. But this is not an inverted mode, so we still have to get in with the medallion. If Ether is required from Isrimire, then we'll need to do Turtle Rock first to get it. But most likely that means we're probably not going to need Ether this game.
Right. If we end up needing Ether from Maya, we're in for a long day. As Solski finds the big key and is going to make his way to the back of Thieves Town. Looks like Leyra is going to take the walk up to Zora with his cash. And good God, the lag with these cards.
This in Thieves Town as well, but wow, there's 6 red guards on the screen right now from Solski's side. Oh my God, this is insane. This entire seat is all thieves and red guards, it seems. Thank God they have the boomerang. Both of them have been stunned. I've never seen anyone have to stun this many enemies.
Randomizer forces you to be very creative with what you have and what you end up facing. As you can see, Solski using the boomerang to bypass everything in that little hallway. Now he meets dead rocks, because with the last thing we needed was more dead rocks in the game.
Oh God, randomized dead rocks. I gotta say, even though we've seen so much stunning, I'm not sure I've actually picked up what the stun prize is. Have you noticed what it is?
I don't think Solski's tried to kill anything that he's stunned yet, just because he's trying to get through everything. At least at this point.
Bottle in a chest requiring a specialist to unlock. All right, so there's that's actually a really useful hint, especially finding it in Thieves Town before we get to Titan's Midst. Tells us that there's a bottle in the purple chest, which is a vanilla bottle, and that's at the end of a fairly long one-off quest. So that'll be nice to skip.
Leyra finds Bombos at King Zora. Not a scam today. At least, I mean, it might not be a scam. We still might not need it, but it's a medallion. Well, wait, you can't use medallions in swordless because you don't have a sword. So maybe it is a scam. Either way,
you can use medallions at the medallion locations.
Right. They give you special tiles and ice pals, for example. But other than that, no. Unfortunately, you can't use them to kill enemies, which would be really nice in Randomizer.
There's a 50% chance though that Bombos is going to be the Turtle Rock medallion though, because we know Ether is in Turtle Rock, so it's either Bombos or Quake. That makes that Zora check potentially a very useful check for Leyra, and something that Solski might put off for quite a while. Zora, it's one of those things that you check early or late, but Lyra is heading to a Genius Cave now to get the hammer. So this is going to very, very, very much needed item.
Right, he's going to bypass the book entirely and get his hammer and start his navigation through Dark World very, very shortly.
Solski continues to either stun or kill enemies, but refuses to kill a stunned enemy.
Buddy, you're not helping us here. We're looking for information.
Stun prize is probably just a sword. Well, unfortunately, just a big 20 in the Thieves Town big chest. I can't imagine. I mean, you know, being as the fact that Hammer was the Dark World access, there's no chance that the players would have skipped that. But it's always good to know that it was not a required progression item. So Solski doing a Samaria blind fight. A nice strategy because the block will give you 2 hits on blind, and it, you know, lets you stay far away from taking body damage. And with only 6 hearts, you do have to be careful. The hammer will also work though.
That was a great fight. That went about as well as could be expected.
So first crystal and one of our 5/6 crystals goes to Solski. Lyra looks like doing the same Dark World route that Solski tried. Hopefully they'll get a little further and we can see what's sitting up here on the pyramid.
Leyra slightly better equipped for it with 3.5 hearts versus Solski's 1. I'm still not entirely sure what. Oh, that's what it was. A little dust monster coming out of the floor. I think is what got Solski last time. And he has the powder sitting on Pyramid Ledge.
That's a potentially a very valuable item. You know, if there's something on the magic bat, and we don't find the mushroom until late in the game, you know, Pyramid is the location that Solski might not go back to for a while. Lyra continuing on to do the catfish check, really focusing on getting these overworld locations out of the way now. Maybe after getting burned on Aegina's Cave, doesn't want to leave too many overworld spots to chance.
So Solski's going to find a full heart out the digging game after many, many digs, pretty much making back the 80 rupees you start with. That is a bush octorok. That is not fair. Yeah. Meanwhile, Leyra's going to check the catfish and find nothing.
a bush octorok. It just sounds funny, but yeah, that's worse than the bush guard because the darn thing shoots you as soon as it shows up.
I don't think Solski got anything much useful off of Stumpy either, did he?
No, I think Stumpy was a bust. Rupees or heart container or something that I didn't even pay attention to because it wasn't a progression item. Piece of Heart says Iceman, so thank you for that. Solski making his first dip into Eastern. This is an area that we already saw over on Lyra's side. We know that we're not going to get anything of importance out of here other than that first bottle. Man, we haven't seen the sick kid yet, so that bottle still could lead to something. Unless Lyra just checked them and I missed it.
No, Leyra hasn't gotten around to it yet. He is going to get around to the other fetch quest in his possession at the Magic Bat, and we'll find the Titan's Mitts. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah, that's very big for Leyra's overall routing, and since Solski died getting to the pyramid, he might leave that for a good long while.
Yeah, and Lyra remembering to do the Sikid check, and Sikid just giving us, let's see, a piece of heart there. So we got both of those light world fetch quests done. But the consequences of those Titan's Mitts, that's pretty significant. That gives Lyra the quicker access to the Dark World that we're going to see immediately. The ability to get into several new locations, do the Smith's Chain quest to get over to Hammer Pegs over here in the Dark World. But like I said, we found that powder on the pyramid, which is a location Solski died trying to get to. And I think most of the time when a runner dies trying to get to a one-off spot, they kind of write it off in their head as they're not going to go back there. So unless we see a mushroom show up early for Solski and he can do a powder glitch to get that magic bat item, it could be a long time before he goes back and finds that powder.
Well, at least one thing in Solski's favor, because this is Randomizer and the bow only locks Helmasaur King, is that he can go into pod whenever he wants, and so he can route the pyramid in whenever he feels like getting the 13 available chests out of pod. So it's not entirely curtains for him yet, for sure.
Oh, definitely not. And the the Titan's Mitts, they do lock a lot of progression. Dark Death Mountain, Turtle Rock, Misery Mire, Ice Palace. So, you reach a point where your options are just narrowed down and you have to start checking these one-off locations. It's just a little bit unfortunate that you die so close to getting, what leads to a major progression item. It's always unfortunate when it happens to anybody. So Lyra heading into Thieves Town, going to be a fairly easy clear and a good crystal for them. Solski, it looks like we're going a little bit deeper into Eastern. We saw Lyra save and quit at this point. Solski going to see what the boss is, and it could very well be a boss that we're not yet able to defeat. Actually, what bosses we couldn't defeat? We couldn't kill Trinex. We couldn't kill.
We can't kill Argus. And let's see, that's pretty much it. I mean, we can.
Yeah, we could take out Cold Stare if we have all our magic. We can take out Armos with the hammer or the boomerang.
Yeah, the Armos fight would be painful but doable. We could see another Samaria blind fight.
I didn't even notice that was a vanilla blind fight. It slipped my mind.
That just hit me too. You're right.
Yeah. But, okay. So blind was a vanilla boss there, even though this is randomized. But this could be another blind fight. We'll get to see in a second what Solski is going to face after killing these 4 horse heads. Oh, this is a lot of enemies in this room. All the popos get randomized.
If 6 popos and 2 red guards or 2 red whatever those things are become 8 other nasty mean enemies, including 3 shadows. It looks like.
Yeah, at least we finally get to see what the stun prize is, which Chad has seen earlier, but this is the first time I actually picked up on it. Just the green rupee. And a Mothula today. All right, that's pretty easy with the fire rod and the hammer available, and no spikes or moving floor.
Mothula is so much nicer out of his environment. You just get to blast that way at him.
Yeah, that's probably one of the easiest spots for a Mothula to be. Great lucky randomization there. Leyra, heading back in after killing the boss. What did we miss?
I think Leyra did the trick you can do in Randomizer, where since there's no maiden and you don't have to take the maiden, you just walk straight to the boss first, and then clear out the rest of the back of the dungeon. As you can see, the small key door is still closed.
That's a good point. I totally missed that. But you're right. In Randomizer, you don't need to escort the maiden into the light. You don't even actually have to bomb the floor up there. You still have to go up there to get the item in the chest, but you don't have to actually activate the boss. The vanilla blind threw me off.
For sure. Leyra is going to get the purple chest in as well, and with the mitts, he'll actually be able to take more advantage of it by being able to stop the smith chain at the smiths.
Yeah, it looks like Leyra almost forgot to go over and get this last the attic chest over here. Looked like they went downstairs, said I don't need to go bomb that, and kind of, oh wait, there's an item up there. I better go check. Like you were saying earlier, Solski is heading into pod. So other than getting to Helmasaur King, he has everything he needs to clear this dungeon. So there's a lot of items here. And coming out of here, we might give that pyramid check another try, which will, get us those the mitts ultimately. So this is a pretty good route, knowing what we know.
Right. Solski got to pod by walking south from Eastern to the portal. So that way, when he does get out of here, he should, if he wants to, unless he finds something super valuable here, like flippers and hookshot or something, like a swamp care package. But he should probably make his way out of pod and walk to the pyramid from here when he's done.
Yeah, that's always the risk. We saw Leyra, potentially get delayed from desert for a little while by not having found the book, and Solski finds something here that leads him, like you said, hookshot and flippers would be a great example of that. You're going to head over and do Crystal Swamp Palace instead of go to the pyramid.
I don't think Leyra made it to the big chest, or...
Yeah. Leyra got it, and it's just a death warp, so we can go finish these. This will be the first look that we've seen at the hammer pegs, as well as Smith stuff. If we do Smith stuff after this, because Solski didn't have the mitts.
Yeah, chat bringing up that was a death warp. So yeah, I was following Solski through pods. Makes perfect sense. Can't mirror out, so might as well die back to the front door.
45 minutes in, still pretty low on health. So that's a nice full heart in the hammer peg spot. Leyra gonna continue on. We have the digging game and the Stumpy to do, but we also get to do the frog here, and we always have to be careful there that we do the digging game before we do the frog, otherwise it will not let us continue.
Right. The proprietor of the digging game is a surprisingly jealous fellow, and simply will not talk to you or let you do anything with his game if he even suspects that you have another friend. Even if it's an inanimate object like a purple chest.
So I'm thinking about the, if there's any, hook shot in Palace of Darkness. We're getting that diversion you were talking about.
Still two steps away from the Swamp Palace care package, but that opens up the East Side Death Mountain, which actually will be a pretty sizable time sink for him.
I like that that they used the bomb there to get. I don't know if that was an attempt to do a setup for the bomb jump, but either way, Solski used the invincibility to get past the spike, which may have been the actual goal there. Either way, it was pretty neat. Leyra is spending a lot of time in Kakariko, doing initially the magic bat and the sick stuff. Now turning in the gnome. These are a lot of slow, time-consuming overworld checks. The bat has paid off, but everything else so far has kind of been a time loss.
There's something you don't see every day. There's a wall master in this maze, so you'd better keep moving. Solski just caught it out of the corner of his lamplight.
Yeah, wall master. That's got to be even worse than a dead rock. It's scary. It's so scary, that wall master. That almost got him.
So there's going to be an item on Helmasaur King, it looks like, and Solski's going to take his hook shot up the mountain.
Yeah, without a mirror there, he would have had to do a time-consuming death warp in order to get out of there, and that just does not make a lot of sense. Death Mountain, with the hook shot opening up all of right side Death Mountain, such a better play than going for the pyramid. Unfortunately, we know the pyramid has the powder, which leads to the Titan's mitts, and that's going to make everything a lot easier for Leyra when they head up to Death Mountain right side, being able to do light and dark all at the same time. Yeah, chat pointing out Wallmaster would have been a nice way to get out of Palace of Darkness without the Death Warp. That's something I didn't think about. With Randomizer, you really have to think about things like that you normally wouldn't think about. It takes a level of skill that's very high, and a really good ability to adapt on the fly.
Yeah, Randomizer just adds a whole nother layer of like adaptability and game knowledge, and okay, how do I get by this? What's the best way to do this? And it's great.
Yeah, I would argue that finding the hook shot there means that he probably would not have, like, even if he had the mirror, I don't think he would have gone out to go to the pyramid or the catfish. The hook shot just made Death Mountain a more appealing play. The knowledge we have, we know it's unfortunate, but I can't see him having made the pyramid play either in any scenario.
Right. If he doesn't find the hook shot, then maybe he tries to get out. There are the flippers in Skull Woods as one of the items in there for Leyra. But yeah, if he doesn't find the hook shot, then yeah, he probably tries to walk the pyramid, because Pod would have had nothing.
So Leyra, I think, is on a pretty good track. I'm thinking for Solski, the best locations for progression items for Solski that might be difficult for Leyra. I think the waterfall cave is one, because Leyra's already done all the rest of the Zora's domain and catfish checks. So even though the flippers just opened up those two locations, there might be lower probabilities. Also, the 2 tablets. If
Right.
if
There's
there's a, if
definitely a
there's a
possibility that the book could hide something important. And when you have as many things to do as Leyra does, escape's not going to be very high on the list.
Exactly, and with desert being a pendant, Leyra isn't really thinking like, I got to get over to the desert. I need to get to desert. If we find the mirror, then and the flute, and we can get to desert from the dark world, then we don't even need the books for desert access. It becomes just the medallions at that point, or the tablets rather. But regardless, Leyra is in the back of Skull Woods, and this is going to be our 3rd boss, and hopefully, maybe we'll see a vanilla Mothula. That'll be difficult.
So for those wondering, yes, those vines are pre-cut and swordless to get to the last couple of rooms of Skullwoods. The curtains in Aghanim's Tower are also pre-open. And Leyra, oh, this is not going to be fun.
Yeah, I interesting, insight into their decision-making process right there. It looks like they do the save and quit, and they're like, well, I can die here. What's the harm in giving it a shot? And then just nope. Hammer Vitreous is a really, really slow fight.
It would have taken so long. On Blue Mail, 9 hearts, no real way to make it any easier.
Well, the thing is, we may have to do Hammer Vitreous at some point. Vitreous could have the bow, which would make that fight a lot easier. And, we might just have to kill him that way. But Skullwoods is pretty easy to get to. So, yeah, just saving it for later makes a lot of sense. This is our first look at the Ether Medallion. Is this... Oh! That's the mirror. Mirror locked behind the book.
Oh, that is one of the most painful spots for the mirror, because it means you are required to do the long walk all the way across the bridge, up across the tags, to get to the mirror, which is just painful. So that's a very, very big find for Solski. This race is just... We're going on 2 very, very different paths, and it's going to be really fascinating to see where this finishes.
Yeah, there's Ice Rod. There's first item in Tower of Hera. That's the second of the rods, so it gives us the ability to kill a Trinex when we come across one. But Leyra also picked up a hint there in Ice Palace that the Pyramid Fairy just has garbage, piece of heart, and cash. So that's our Swamp Palace, and what was the other Red Crystal? Thieves Town. Once we get that other Red Crystal, we are not going to need to do a pyramid check. And Pyramid Fairy is one more thing that could have let Solski route the pyramid in to get the mitts there. But that won't affect Solski because that hint is locked behind the mitts anyway, so never mind.
Right, the hint's locked behind the mitts, but the Pyramid Fairy itself is not, because of it being thieves and swamps. So it's possible that opening up the Pyramid Fairy might drive Solski up there.
Yes, Solski could go into Skullwoods and get the flippers, and then could go full clear Swamp Palace, and then go do the Pyramid Fairy at that point, and then mirror over to the pyramid. That's not inconceivable at this point.
Boots and ice.
That's a nice hint. And Leyra
Oh,
is
that's
in
bad.
ice.
That's kind of bad news for Solski because we know how far away he is from the mitts, and we know Leyra's in ice. So, I mean, we're going to be very happy for Leyra in about 3-4 minutes.
Would have been the only way that could have been better is if Leyra was opening the chest as Solski was reading the hint.
Yep, the new hint system at work.
So the Leyra is not going to. All right, so Leyra is not going to be able to get to anything in desert because we know that the mirror being book locked also means that they won't be able to get into desert via the mirror method. So that's interesting. So if there's something in the back of desert on the boss there, we're gonna have to get the book in order to get it.
Solski's going to try to make his way through a Helmasaur King and a hole.
This is a really bad boss on this location. This would not be too hard with a sword, but the hitbox on Helmasaur with the hammer is so small, and no bow. It's a pretty tough fight.
And Helma loves camping around that hole. It's his best friend. Solski's going to get the win though, and get crystal number 3 and a heart piece.
Leyra is just continuing on. We got a chest coming up here and a chest in the previous room. Gotta get those boots. Where are those boots?
Solski going Sanctuary, interestingly. Could this be a sick kid play?
This could be Sick Kid. This could also be Skull Woods. This could be Graveyard Ledge. We have the mirror now. A lot of one-offs. Might even see a Graveyard Ledge into Catfish. But I think Solski's in the one-off, section of his game. So I think Leyra has done everything but so we got the big chest here, then we have Cold
Probably
Stare,
ice,
and then
Cold Stare and
Ice
Iced Tea, I think, yeah.
And continuing on the Iced Tea first. So it's going to be on Cold Stare, or it's going to be on the boss, which may or may not be Cold Stare. So what's the worst boss in your opinion that you'd have to fight on ice?
Trinex by far. Trinex by far. I mean, fortunately, Cold Stare's actual room isn't made of ice. But darn it, there are the boots. So Leyra's going to have his boots and immediately fall into the pit with them.
Blind on ice, that would be pretty tough. That would be tough as well. So Leyra has all the small keys that they need to get down to the boss here, and I think at this point, just a Trinex is the only thing that they can't kill. No, and Argus. They can't
Trinex
Argus.
and Argus, yeah.
So same as before. Yeah, Solski can kill any boss, just can't get to most of them. But doing Skullwood, so this is going to give Solski the flippers, and if I were Solski, I would probably do Swamp Palace after this.
Question in chat: was this a choice or a match 3? This is. Oh, and look, there's Trinex.
There he is.
This is game number 2 between Solski and Leyra. Solski lost game 1 on his choices. This is Leyra's choices. Both times, the runners have picked Swordless for themselves. Which, you know, good game on them.
Yeah, this seed is just insane as far as you know, both players have gotten fairly difficult one-off items that the others haven't. I mean, we have had almost no conversions after like the first minute in this game. It's been so different. Solski, you know, going back to do, you know, the back of Scodes here, and see what was back. I forget what was back here.
I think there was just like a map or something back here, because I think the second item is on the Vitreous that's here.
That's what I meant. I forgot what the boss was, but yeah, Vitreous. Solski isn't in any better position to take on the boss than Leyra was. I mean, you know, you really can't do Vitreous with bombs unless you go buy the bomb upgrades. It's hammer or, you know, eventually come back with the bow.
So it looks like Leyra's going to go to Pod. I was going to say he was going to be the boss at Eastern Palace, but no, he's going to come down here and try his hand at the normally treasure pod. This time we know it has the hookshot for him and little else, but hookshot's very valuable. He's going to need that pretty darn soon.
I would say my favorite item in the game is the powder, and in addition to opening up the Titan's Mitt on the magic bat, it's also saved Leyra many times. That's at least the third anti-fairy that I've seen them powder this game. And so, man, Solski did not get far in that fight.
There's the old college try. He has a fairy in hand, so he's going to keep with the old college try. But even with blue mail, the eyes do so much contact damage, the spikes do damage. There's just so much to deal with here.
And the moving floor. I mean, there's so much damage on Vitreous. The moving floor isn't helping at all. I swear though, if Vitreous is blocking the bow, that's going to be amazing. That was a decent attempt by Solski. I mean, that's half the eyes were dead.
So you brought up the potential of purchasing bomb upgrades, which Solski has 1,800 rupees. It would not be the world's worst idea to take a trip over there and buy a couple of packs. Put those rupees to some use.
Well, we got a pedestal check first. Something that we haven't seen. And I think it was just 10 arrows on the pedestal.
10 arrows, right?
But yes, I mean, I can't really imagine Solski, you know, going and buying bombs to do Vitreous. Like that's a deep commitment into, you know, just one item. I would imagine we'd see a pyramid check before that, or most likely, you know, the Swamp Palace play. But it could come to that though. If, you know, Vitreous is locking a bow, you might have to get bombs unless we get a lot of health. That's interesting. Not doing Swamp, and doesn't have the you know, until we do Swamp, doesn't have the can't get to the red bomb. So this is just a regular pyramid check.
Yeah, Solski's going to make that pyramid check that we thought he wasn't going to do for a while. It is an hour 5, but it is earlier than he could have done it for sure. Especially with all the with everything you need for Swamp in hand.
This is a He was really ready to stun that guy this time. This is a surprising check. I mean, he had everything he needed to do swamp, and that was the other 5/6 crystal. So you could have done, you know, pyramid and the pyramid fairy at the same time.
And Chad is correct. The Solski has not done Zora, where the Bombos medallion lies. Which may or may not be needed. We haven't actually seen any of the medallion locations yet.
Yeah, Leyra pulled it out heading into ice, but you know, with the fire rod, you know, decided to you know, skip using it because it's a time-consuming animation. Solski using that money to stock up on blue potions. It'd be really nice to see that. And another vitreous attempt, that would be insane. Did Solski get the tip that Pyramid Fairy was junk? I thought that was where was the tip? I thought only Leyra saw that.
Yeah, that tip was in ice, I think. So there's no possible way Solski could have it.
Yeah, I think only Leyra had that tip.
And Leyra doing Hera now is going to take a long time to get to the mirror, because we know where the book is, and we know that you got to take the whole lap around to come back up here with the book to get it.
Exactly. I mean, you're orphaning, you know, the ether tablet, because with the mirror being on ether, you can't really even come back up here and do ether prior to doing, you know, Spike Cave. They're completely isolated, so it's unfortunate, but the mirror might not be required, because both, you know, Meyer and Desert are pendants, so we might not need the book.
Well, Swamp's a crystal, so we hard need the mirror, and because we hard need the mirror, we hard need the books.
Oh, good point. That's my bad. Well, that changes things around then, I think, because you have, you know, the front of escape holding. I think that was the only item that Leyra didn't check. It was because that he had to kill the Gibdo with bombs and didn't have enough bombs.
Right, he ran out of magic before getting to that room, so he couldn't hit it with the fire.
Exactly. So Leyra's done the back of escape and the rest of the front of escape. So you're looking at, you know, exactly one item location left in that dungeon. That's pretty unlikely. He's going to check everything else before that.
He might not have done the chest in the dark sewers. Oh no, wait, you had to do that because you had to walk all the way through to get the glove. That's right.
Yeah, Leyra went straight to the back first. Did the dark side there. Did the 3 chests in the back. Yeah,
bumped off.
Only one floor.
Leyra bumped off. Another nasty enemy. And that's huge. That is huge.
Oh wow! Look at that tip.
Solski knows it all now. Not all of it, but he's got the biggest piece of the puzzle that we know so far, and that is the bat has the mitts, and he is going to take care of that right now.
I gotta tell you though, I'm not sure why you'd save and quit there, because you were already in Swamp Palace. I mean, there's no reason you couldn't finish the dungeon.
So for chat, the hint was that a glove is on the magic bat. I think the idea behind not doing swamp is the old idea that you always want to go mode it.
I don't think that makes sense if you're already in the dungeon. I mean, you have to leave and come back. That's slower than actually checking all the chests.
Chat bringing up a good point. It could be to get boots, because he knows where the boots are too.
I don't know. We'll have to ask in the interview. All of that makes sense if you're not already in the dungeon, I would say. I guess, I mean, the hint tile was in the very beginning, so you could... It'll be interesting. We'll definitely have to ask Solski when he's in chat.
And boots being in Ice Palace are locked by the mitts, so he does have to get the mitts first in order to go in there and pick up his ruby red shoes.
Yeah, I mean, if swamp was a pendant, then I would absolutely understand. You know, I got the hint. I know where I need to go at this point. I can't understand why you'd skip it as a crystal dungeon. But I've never actually seen the screen. I've never seen anyone buy bombs there. That's so cool.
Yeah, you get the +5 upgrade, and you get a refill. So it's actually a pretty decent place to restock if you're running low on either bombs or arrows.
Yeah, I read about that in the the version 30 release notes, and I haven't actually seen anyone go in there yet. So it's kind of a nice treat. And it's pretty good value, and you don't have to walk back and forth and throw the rupees in 20 at a time. So that's always nice.
Yeah, Randomizer is hard, but they do try to make things at least convenient. Good job, developers. Leyra is going to give us our first look at the Turtle Rock Medallion. We may not need the Flute or the Mire Medallion at all, with Misery Mire being the green pendant. And it is Quake. We don't have it yet, so time to go around a little bit. Check a couple of other locations. Hookshot Cave is available, as is Super Bunny Cave, and we'll see what he gets out of here. Okay, who put a BMOS here? Who put a BMOS in Hookshot Cave? That's not fair to the runners either. Heart refill, at least. Getting the heart piece out of the last chest. And he's going to go into Super Bunny and see what he can dig out. Solski having to burn one of his blue potions just to get past the conveyor room here in Ice. Hinox is a plenty so far in Ice Palace. Is Leyra going to try to tank Spike Cave? This would be a very interesting move.
I think that Leyra has at least... Yeah, there's a blue potion. So can get through this if we have to with the potion. It would be a little bit of a waste, though. Nicely done. for a single arrow of reward.
Worth, completely worth. But seriously, Spike Avon, I think that ended up being 12 heart. He had 13, so it took all 12. It was very, very good.
Yeah, and you have to use the hook shot too. So I'm thinking about Solski's side over here. You know, we know that we're going to find the boots, but he's coming in here with all the items that he also needs to kill the Trinex. So he'll actually be able to clear this dungeon. Leyra has the ice rod now, but we're going to have to backtrack in here. So this is one little extra time savings Solski's going to be able to pick up. You know, the mitts was that was a great tip, and those mitts were definitely unfortunate. But I think this book is going to be much more unfortunate.
So ice rod in hand, looks like Leyra's going to make his way back into ice. Maybe. Yes, he is.
Yeah. Leyra's they've already done the waterfall fairy stuff, so and every other Zora check. So this will be just clearing ice. It still has that blue potion, so they got everything they need.
Just a straight shot to the bottom and bash Trinex's 3 heads in with the hammer a few times.
Yeah, Solski a little bit further into the dungeon, we might actually see some sync up in the Trinex room.
So the medallion for Turtle Rock was Quake. Leyra obviously couldn't open it, so he tried the other couple of caves and really only found a Beamos and Hookshot cave, which is always nice, and the shovel, which led to a hard piece. So that was his death. That was the rest of his death mount, and of course the incredibly well executed spike cave that you all saw.
Okay, so nothing else of value then on the Dark Death Mountain.
Exactly. Solski picking up his ruby red shoes.
Yeah, this is not going to be I mean, it's a difficult Trinex fight. Hammer Trinex is always a little tricky, but I mean they both have a potion and they both have the skill level to execute on it. They're pretty close together as far as this one dungeon is concerned.
Right. The big catch. The big catch with the Trinex in most any room that you fight in that isn't his own is the size of the room, because he turns corners quicker. So if you're not prepared for it, he can just, especially in that second phase, he can just turn the corner and knock you right out.
So Leyra will be coming out of this dungeon. No mirror, so can't do Swamp Palace. And we haven't seen what's in the boss of Palace of Darkness because we don't have the bow. Leyra might go finish Eastern. That's definitely an option at this point. I don't see. I mean, like I said, I don't see Leyra actually getting the book for quite a long time. But Leyra's done a lot of overworld checks, though.
Right. Leyra's list of locations is getting pretty small, which is fortunate for him. It's just a matter of when does Zelda Cell hit that list, and then when does Ether Tablet hit the second list.
Nice Trinex sync. Nice fight from Solski, and Leyra is also doing a very nice job. And neither of them needed to use their potion. Very nice.
Yeah, these are the 2 and 3 seeds of Group P. Very skilled players. Leyra made a deep run in the spring. Both are chasing the #1 seed in Group P. Activoker at 5-1, but it's a very, very competitive group.
Yeah, nice Trinex fight from both players. Solski now doing some of the overworld checks that Leyra already did. These 2 boost checks are pretty quick. You always do these immediately if you're not in go mode. I'm thinking the issue that worries me about Leyra is, mentally they did the front of escape and they just didn't make it to Zelda cell. So, mentally they might, be thinking like they already did that location, and it's really easy to forget just one spot.
It is. At least, I mean, when it's a spot you died on, you might remember it a little better. Just because, oh, geez, this happened there. Instead of just a pure, oh, I'm just not doing this, or I just forgot this existed. So there is hope. There is hope for him. And so far, the mirror's only locked Swamp House. We haven't actually seen anything else of value yet.
Yeah, really nice overworld execution there with the spin speed. Leyra, or actually it would be hook dash in this case, managed to dodge a lot of those randomized enemies. Very, 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 very well executed. I would have fallen off the cliff many times.
Solski going to pick up his piece of heart here.
Yeah, I guess he forgot to do that when he did the magic bat.
He was laser focused on those boots. Once he had all the pieces, like, okay, I know exactly what I'm doing. It looks like he's not gonna get half magic. I mean, he could, unless he. Well, no, he's not gonna take the purple chest. So this is his last best chance to get half magic if he wants it. Sitting up on the library ledge.
And if I were Leyra, I would just use the bombos in this room. That is a brutal room. I'm trying to get the key.
We're getting logic questions in chat about Vitreous and the bow. Vitreous can be beaten by other means. He can be beaten with the hammer. He can be beaten with bombs. And because of that, Vidi can have the bow. It would be evil to the runners, but this is Randomizer, and that's kind of the way it works. So yes, absolutely, Vitreous can have the bow.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised to see Solski. He's doing the purple chest, so either he missed that hint or he forgot that hint. I think they both saw that hint. I forget which one it was.
No, they did. It was the hint in Thieves Town, but Solski probably. I mean, that's going on like 50 minutes ago now for Solski, and he is going to pick up half magic.
Yeah, the thing about the hints is, they're nice, but it's also really hard to keep track of. I like getting this half magic though. We've seen them run out of magic several times, and it's right there. Unfortunately, this purple chest turn in is going to cost a little bit of time.
It is a bottle though, and if he did, I mean, and if this is Randomizer, you never know what you're gonna run into. Might as well be prepared.
That's a good point. It's I just assumed, because of most normal game modes that you see it's a bottle, you already have a bottle, you're not gonna go get it. But Solski, he got the blue potions. He took time to buy some bombs. he may very well be thinking that he's going to have to do, that Hammer Vitreous, and in that case, the bottle could potentially be worth it. So, yeah, I could see that. He's really been putting off Swamp Palace, though. He dodged out of there to get the mitts, and he hasn't gone back yet.
So I want to say Leyra only did the front half of Pod, and that's why he's back here to do the back half. Because he got the hookshot pretty early, and then took it straight to Death Mountain.
Yeah, I think that was the hookshot chest there, the first one.
Bombo's check on Solski's side brings up a heart piece.
So Leyra could also potion glitch to get the right side of Palace of Darkness. Oh, actually, do you even need a potion glitch in this mode?
No, you don't. You can just kill whatever's in there.
Right. No mimics. Okay. So so there's 2 more chests over there because we saw it was an open chest when they went through the main room.
Right. Leyra hadn't been on that side yet.
Oh, you're right then. Must have just gotten the hook shot and immediately bailed out.
Yeah, Vanilla Big Key wasn't even open. So I mean, I think it was just first chest, hook shot, then down to the pit, and then out. So Leyra's going to enjoy the pile of nothing he's going to get through the rest of this place. We are 90 minutes into this seed, which is probably a long time for runners of this caliber, and still sitting on 4 crystals apiece. So we'd like to remind you all to follow the runners, Solski and LeyraGG.
Yeah, there's so many locations we haven't even seen. We haven't seen anything in the Mire area because we haven't gotten the flute yet. Neither runner's been able to get into Turtle Rock. We haven't seen anything besides the entrance of Swamp. Like I said, 90 minutes in, you'd expect to see more completion. Solski just got the shovel, but we have seen the shovel spot already, so we know that's nothing.
Solski he was smartly trying to hide from that Beamos. Actually, what's he doing here? I don't know why he did that.
I think he was trying to get iframes for the BMOs and just kind of overcomplicated it. But regardless, the big news is on the left side of the screen where Leyra is heading down to Zelda's cell.
This is a big moment in the race here. I mean, Solski can walk that, you know?
I know. I think this is just a show-off move.
Oh,
Come on, Solski. This can't
I'm pretty sure Leyra walked through this, right?
Yeah, this can't be the only way to get this chest. This has got to be showing off. Come on. So this is the real reason why Solski got the bomb expansion.
Later, we're getting full revenge on that gift, though, burning in the shreds.
Yeah,
and he's gonna leave that chest. Oh, okay.
That chat pointing out that he might not realize that he can sneak past that BMOs. I mean, because he was trying to hover over there. Fortunately, there's no progression item there. Unfortunately, if we're still looking for something, he might think there's a progression item and head back there anyway. But big moment for Leyra, finding the book I would imagine that that's going to lead you to desert before that leads you to ether. So we have a little delayed gratification here.
Right. Of the book checks, ether tablet is pretty much always going to be last, unless you have a reason to go back up the mountain, and he's already cleared the whole thing. So.
Yeah. Well, ether will be before Bombos, fortunately, at least in this case. With
true.
the mirror,
That's
the
true.
mirror
Because
being
the
there.
mirror locks the.
Yeah, but the desert makes a lot of sense, and this is going to be our first look at what the boss of desert is as well, because Solski wasn't able to get back there.
Solski back the swamp, it appears.
You have to do it, and we're still looking for the bow. We're looking for Quake. Those are the two, major items that we need. I'm holding out hope that the Vitreous is holding the bow.
Only chat's supposed to be evil to our runners.
Well, no, I mean it's not like that. I'm not doing like this item leads to that item type of thing. It's just one item in one spot.
Just one true test to see how good these guys really are, right?
Hey, Vitreous, Hammer Vitreous is a really tough fight. But they have, Solski has that extra potion now. Has 15 bombs.
Has half magic.
Yeah, I would like to see that fight. I mean, I've done bomb Vitreous, and I'm a terrible player, so it's definitely doable.
I mean, if nothing else, bomb Vitreous looks cool because it's just explosions and damage everywhere. So it's a fun looking fight, even if it does take a decent amount of bombs.
Yeah, the hammer and the conveyor belt, like, it just makes those. It's already a difficult fight, but then you put it on a conveyor belt and it just gets brutal.
Oh, did we see this desert hint? I don't think we did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, Solski came back here, but we didn't have the boots to get the big key.
Ah, okay.
So this is our first look in the big chest, and this will be our first look at the boss.
Yeah, it looks like Lanmo's going to have the item, so Leyra's going to take... Well, Lanmo's room is going to have it. We don't know who's occupying it yet. Can you do the Vitreous fight with Samaria blocks? No, because Samaria blocks do fighter sword damage, and none of Vitreous's eyes will take damage from the fighter. From anything that does fighter sword damage.
Yeah, I've seen people do Vitreous with the fighter sword, and it's just, you have to use bomb strats. You can do spins with the fighter sword because that does master sword damage. Does that work? I think
that will work. I mean, it's hard. It's really, really hard, but it does do damage. Quake.
Oh, yeah, Quake and Swamp. Would not have affected Solski had he done Swamp earlier, because still would have had to get those mitts. I still don't know why we didn't do Swamp earlier.
So having all of Turtle Rock open does kind of take the... Viddy could have something important. Well, Viddy can only have the bow, really, if we want him to have something of importance, or like the flute leading the checkerboard to the bow, or something goofy like that. So.
Don't dash my dreams. We could have another Vitreous and Turtle Rock.
We could. That would be outstanding.
This is our second Helmosaur. Oh, this is our first Armos Knights and a no bow Armos. I love these. Have you ever seen a boomerang Armos fight?
Not a complete one. I mean, you know, not that they've had to do it, but they'll do some damage with the boomerang just to move things along.
And Solski, having to use the blue potion there, that this hammer hitbox and Helmosaurus is really tight, and he just kept getting stepped on.
Leyra in a little bit of trouble here, down to a heart and a half. Now 1.
Leyra has the potion. And the
bug net. we in there now.
Oh, come on, Leyra. Oh, it has a fairy. Nice.
Time to burn down this Armos, probably. 3, 4, 5, 6. That'll do it. And a red boomerang off of the Armos.
Well, Solski, let's see. Where? I don't know where Solski's going.
Restock potions, probably. Did he? He didn't do left side, did he?
No. Yeah, potions make sense, but I would imagine that he would go to Turtle Rock after this. And is this our ether check, Leyra? This has got to be the ether check. So once we get the mirror, this is going to open up Swamp, and it's also going to open up the one-offs of Bombos and Graveyard Ledge. Hopefully Leyra will just go to Swamp. Swamp and Bombos, so that's pretty easy to route in with Swamp, though. Graveyard Ledge is really the only very out-of-the-way spot, and we saw that was just a garbage item.
And it's possible Leyra finds a hint for it anyway. Yeah, he is not happy with that fight, and he has every right to be.
Whenever you take the time, an hour 38 minutes into to visually express your frustration, you gotta be really frustrated. But Leyra going immediately to Swamp Palace. We still have to see left side Swamp, and we're still looking for a bow. We know we have to get that bow for Palace of Darkness. So there's still a fortunes could turn.
Leyra he's gonna check K45 first, and then K45, then Bombos, then Swamp. So pretty good routing
Solski
here.
do K40? Yeah, Solski did this check as well.
Yeah, he did it. He did it along with Purple Chest. So.
Right, and we saw a hint there in the front of Turtle Rock that there's no item in Mimic Cave, so that's an extra location that they'll be able to skip. Very well placed hint in Turtle Rock.
I don't think that many Moldorm's happy to be there.
And checking K45 and Bombo's tablet before going into Swamp, that makes a lot of sense. They're really quick checks. They just got opened up with the mirror, so these are locations that could have been open for a lot longer, and it'll let you save and quit right after Swamp. So unfortunately, no items here, but it's a good route. I love the Moldorms there. It's like they can't go anywhere. They're just stuck.
One of Randomizer's most entertaining things is Moldorm in Mothula's room. It's not fun for Moldorm. He doesn't like conveyors. He gets lost.
I haven't seen that. I saw Moldorm. He gets 5 eyes in the Randomizer, which I think is pretty funny.
Oh, right. That was the features already put in. Yeah, the number of eyes are randomized between 1 and 8.
Oh, it's I know that was randomized. I just thought it was the way the sprite got messed up.
Yep, had a seed last night with the pair of one-eyed Moldorms, which is okay.
Solski's being careful here. He's checking the vanilla big chest ether since our last medallion. We knew ether was in Turtle Rock from an early hint, but we didn't know where it was. Having the big key already, that was a chest that he might have skipped if he was trying to full go mode everything. But we still looking for that bow.
Getting a question in chat. Why did Leyra do Desert Palace? Leyra got the book very late, so Desert Palace, he had the boots and the fire source to complete it. So that was his first check after the book, was to go complete Desert and see what was there.
Yeah, absolutely, it makes a lot of sense. I think anybody would have done the same thing, doing Desert before you do a one-off tablet. But we did see on Solski's side that the pedestal just had 10 arrows, so that Desert medallion is not going to be needed. And,
hello, Spike Roller.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, at least that's the only thing that showed up here. I mean, there could have been Vimos, there could have been more fire bars. It could have been a lot worse. Solski got out pretty light.
I gotta tell you, I really don't feel that room is randomized, because I've seen rollers there a lot more often than in anything else.
You think it's like seeded for nastiness?
I think that there might be a little bit of like, an increased chance of there being rollers specifically. Probably not. Like I said, it's just it's just something that you just tend to see rollers there quite a bit. But moving on, we're on Laser Bridge.
I have seen some South Shores that are just inhuman.
Yeah,
so we don't have the bow yet, surprisingly.
No bow. Yeah, and Leyra's doing the second Helmosaur here in Swamp. Also decided to skip the left side initially, so those are items over there that we do not know what they are, because Solski also skipped them. And find out what boss is in the Trinex room today. I'm hoping for Vitreous. Come on, Vitreous. Oh.
Well, this is still a turn-based RPG now. Because you don't have a sword, you have to do hook to hammer strats. Yeah,
getting 2 puffs though, doing very well. It's tricky to do those with the hammer. A lot of times you'll see the strat if someone's coming in here with the fighter sword. they'll also use the 2-puff strats. But not a difficult fight, just a time-consuming fight with all the menu changes. And Leyra is most likely also heading directly into Turtle Rock. They have the hint that there's nothing in the purple chest, so we can skip that.
Swag Ice Rod strats. Figuring if Iris is going to be blue, you might as well take him down with something blue.
Oh, that makes sense. And we got just a map on our crystal here. So what do we have left that we can go to? Skull Woods? Vitreous?
Oh gosh. Solski can do Spike Cave, but we know the single arrow's there. We know via a hint that the Pyramid Fairy doesn't have anything. We know because Leyra went to Desert that Desert doesn't have anything. And we don't have the flute to do anything in the Mire area. So are we really down to Vitreous?
We might be. I mean, there's nothing, like I said, there's nothing we can do in Mire. We can't even do the Mire overworld stuff without that flute. I'm trying to think. Mimic. We didn't check Mimic Cave. We got a tile hint that was garbage.
We've done all of Palace of Darkness.
We just saw the hint again on Leyra's side. Caches and Mimic Cave. It might be Vitreous, and Vitreous is in the Mothula location. Oh wow, this is gonna be great.
Question in chat, how about the Graveyard Ledge? Solski went there, I think. Didn't find much of anything.
Oh, yes. Chat reminding me that there's still an item in Left Side Swamp that they both skipped.
Right. Yeah, I think I was watching... Yeah, I think both times I was watching the other guy do something else, so I wasn't tracking the items all the way. It's very possible Left Side Swamp is the answer.
Well, Solski, he's going for the Skullwoods play. He's loaded up on potions. He's got he doesn't have a full load of bombs. He can hold up to 15 because he did purchase one of those upgrades. But looks like he's making the play for Vitreous.
He's got red mail now, so he was going to take a lot less damage. Or I guess that's a peeled eggplant for red mail. Am I looking at that right?
I don't know. What I find weird is every race I've seen someone do Randomizer, they still use like Chain Chomp Room strats, like Samaria blocks and stuff, as if there were Chain Chomps there. Leyra has more locations, more overworld locations to check. I mean, a few more, not a lot more than Solski, but I think there's, like, look at the Graveyard Ledge. There's a couple locations that they might check before, going back to Left Side Swamp or doing the Vitreous. But
yeah, Leyra's also going to get a little lucky with the way he's going to route this, because the chest he's not going to get has the ether that he knows is in here. Be a hint.
He's getting it.
Oh, he went that, or he just forgot and is going back to get it. Yeah, that too.
So far, the Vitreous is going pretty well. Down to 3 eyeballs left.
3 eyeballs, still got 10 hearts too. So this is working out very nicely, actually. Well, 7, 6.
Normally in vanilla Vitreous, if all you have is the hammer, you can position yourself in the very top right corner, and it's a nice safe spot. But not in this room.
I want to say this takes 16 hammer swings.
It sounds about right. And he's done. He's used up all safeties.
There it is, a win for Solski and the flute.
I was not asking for a troll. I wanted the bow directly. Elminster says that you can knock him into the spikes, and I'm guessing that works the same way as the spikes do on other enemies and does cold sword damage. So that's good to know. Well, now I'm hoping for the bow just to be like in the mire shed. You know, just immediately find the bow.
So Solski's going to take our friendly swag duck back to the witch and restock on potions because he burned everything he had to get that Vitreous down.
Yeah, and wow, he's gone through a lot of money. I mean, he's down to 146 rupees. He couldn't even load up on blue potions. A bush Beamos?
Zarvi, please. What are we doing here? Bush Beamos? Are you serious?
That's not right.
And it is Ether for Meyer. Do we need to go in?
Please, just give us the bow. Show some mercy. There's a large heart container and a red rupee. Oh, there's still checkerboard cave.
Still checkerboard cave. I mean, at least, although this hint was also like an hour and a half ago, at least you don't have to do the fireside of Meyer.
Oh, then there's the bow. Okay, so hour 52 go mode for Solski, bow and checkerboard cave, and we just need to complete Palace of Darkness, and we are done.
Yep, Solski's gonna find his way out of the seed intact. It looks like.
So that bow was locked behind the Vitreous, and we absolutely had to do that Vitreous without the bow.
Yeah, that was a required bolus Vitreous, correct. Question in chat: they are on track to win each other's choices. Yes, if this race continues as it's currently going, yes, Solski will have won Leyra's picks, and Leyra will have won Solski's, which is going to make game 3 fascinating between these two.
Yeah, it's going to also make you question your picks as well. If your opponent wins your own picks, you're like, you shouldn't have picked that. But
both runners have the potential to last location a couple of things pretty hard, and both got out of it. Solski mostly got out of it with the hints, but both were able to get out of what could have been really, really nasty situations with Leyra in the book and Solski in the powder. And
yeah, the silver arrows now, that's another very valuable weapon to have in swordless mode. Is, you know, he can conserve his magic a bit. Leyra never picked up the half magic, so that's going to even be more of a gain for Leyra. I'm guessing Leyra is going to, you know, also have to make the Vitreous play at this point. It's that or left side swamp or graveyard ledge.
he is in the area to potentially go get the. And he's now realizing he only has 2 bottles because he didn't get the bottle from Purple Chest that Solski ended up getting.
Yeah, that's on my list of things to ask Solski about, whether he missed the hint or if he actually really, really wanted that bottle. And here's our second Argus of the game. Okay. Not one of the bosses that you really want to see come up that often when you're in a swordless mode.
Kills your menu time every time.
Yeah, and Leyra is doing this makes a lot of sense. You know, checking all these things that you can check prior to having to do, you know, the Vitreous without the bow. Unfortunately, not going to find anything here in the graveyard ledge. You know, will they go all the way back to the left side swamp before doing Vitreous?
One silver arrow to the side of Argus's head, and 50 more rupees for Solski. And crystal number 7, which means I think we have to do something for chat now.
I do believe it is that time.
There are 22 chests in Gan's Tower that can all have the Gan's Tower Big Key. Place your guess in chat if you're interested in playing our little chat game. Any subscriber or anybody who has supported the Speed Gaming network of channels with 250 bits or more is eligible for our leaderboard. The winner gets to not have to play this seed and fight that Vitreous.
That's a good prize. I'm gonna say today that I want to see the key behind the Ice Armos, and I actually want it to be an Ice Armos too, because I want to get some more value out of our bow.
Good plan. I think I'll pick number 9. It's Fire Snake Room doesn't get a lot of love in this game, so either that or 9. Well, I mean, the guess is 9, but I like Fire Snake.
Commentators are allowed to pick entire rooms. That's what we get as our compensation. We get to pick a whole room.
So 1 hour 58 minutes and maybe an hour 59. Solski's going to be the first one into Gan's Tower. Did Leyra get he got Wallmaster. No. No!
They were like almost down that pit too. Oh, poor Leyra.
Oh no! That could happen in any mode, just because. But still, that is one of the not positive Japanese 1.0 exclusive glitches.
That's a lot of shadows in that room. Or look like shadows.
Think,
was it shadows?
I think that was a broken Hinox. I think it was a Hinox, but that got glitched to something else.
Okay, look, it could look like there were like 9 shadows clumped together, but Anyway, focus on the left side of our screen here. Leyra heading into the Hammer Victorious fight, accepting fate.
Leyra's got, I believe, a fairy and a red potion, and that's it in his possession.
Yeah, and 7 chests down. No big key so far. Well, yeah, Leyra has a lot of money, so you know, could have picked up potions, but with the flute being locked behind this, there's no convenient way to really hop on over to the potion shop. You know, we saw them buy a red potion in Village of Outcasts. As good as you can get. Oh man, this is a tense Victorious fight. Down to 4 eyeballs left.
Leyra's managing it pretty well, though.
Yeah, definitely being patient. The conveyor belt and the spikes, though, just so close to the top left corner.
And he's out of the harder part, and now he's on to the hard part.
Uh-oh. And you said we think there's a fairy? That's a lot of safety.
The big key has shown up at chest number 13.
Yes, 13 it is. And Leyra pulls off that Victorious fight. Well done. Good. That was a very nicely executed Victorious fight. So good job, Leyra. Doing a pedestal check, doesn't it? Didn't have the book for so long. Doesn't know where the bow is yet. Just got the flute. Doesn't know how close they are to the bow.
Here's an Randomizer exclusive that you don't see very often: cannon guards.
Cannon guards.
Cannon
nice.
guards. They are. I don't even know if they're in the vanilla game, but they were in the code, and Zarby found them and pulled them out. So now you can get cannon guards.
No, they're nowhere in the vanilla game. That's Randomizer unique enemy.
Question in chat about GT logic. GT Randomizer does not require the bow. That is correct, because the normal red mimics in the first couple of rooms upstairs are replaced with just enemies you can kill.
First gauntlet room is actually, these are very nice gauntlet rooms, but just having some shadows in them. I mean, they're a little time consuming, but they're easy to kill.
And here we get 5 more. 4 more, 5 more.
So is there, if you get one shadow, like, are they all shadows, or is this just really, this is a coincidence?
I want to say this is just a coincidence. Although I have seen that they're just where there always seem to be shadows coming in groups.
This has been a really easy gauntlet. 3 rooms of shadows, and then bats, popos, and rats. Ah, Almasaur! Third Almasaur.
What's up, big guy? Leyra's gonna get his bow, and he'll be in go mode at 2 hours, 4 minutes, 16 seconds. Solski in a little bit of trouble here, and down 3, 2.5 hearts. And after 2 hours of not having the bow in a swordless seed, Solski is going to put those silvers to very, very good use.
And Kina Burna, which they got earlier on in this dungeon. Nice to actually get a little bit of use out of that. So the room is a lot easier without the fire bar. Although that shadow can sneak up on you.
That lamp puzzle got a lot tamer this time around.
I saw an Randomizer race that that despawned at the tower and went a few rooms, and let's see, because as Randomizer, and like it wasn't even clear that there were no enemies yet for a while. So, could there be shadows that are just really, really good at hiding?
Oh man, because you don't reach a spot where you have to open a door for a long time after that little despawn point.
Yeah. Oh, Vanilla Moldorm.
Solski pulled this off in game 1, and he's going to do it again. He hovers the Moldorm 2 gap. Also, that was a vanilla Moldorm.
Oh, that's a not a good place for a roller. Even with the Kina Burna, this is a difficult room. So he hovered that fine, but he lost a lot of time in Hookshot Cave trying to hover by the Beamos.
So you can do this fight with either the hammer or the bug net, which makes it a little nastier than you would be normally expecting. Though he got a double on that phase.
You gotta love the hammer dashes, or the net dash.
That was quite a good fight.
And that's one of the better net Aga 2 fights that I've ever seen. Wouldn't mind seeing a sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying Soul's going to drop into the game and fight, and because this is swordless, he is coded to take damage with the hammer, tempered sword damage. You just have to deal with that goofy hitbox.
I've seen people hit Ganon with the hammer in phase 4, but I've never seen anyone use exclusively the hammer for all the hits, all 12 hits. That was a very nice phase 1 and 2. He did not take many hits at all. Wow, that was
the jukes, right?
I know.
So that's one hit down. Oh, this is a really great spot here. Can he get 2? Can he get 3? 1, 2? Not quite.
That's like a double.
dodges the last fire bat, fires the last arrow, and the pig explodes. Solski is going to... Well, we're going to wait. We're going to make sure he crosses the bridge. Here comes the bridge. Solski is going to cross the finish line in first place and go to 4-4 in Group P.
Yeah, GG is the Solski. Right as Leyra is picking up that 7th crystal. I couldn't find the SRL room to get the official time, but about 2:10-ish. Official time 2 hours 10 minutes and 11 seconds. Thank you to GG's the Iceman. It's not the GG's Iceman. GG Solski, and thank you to Iceman for posting that. And this looks like
Leyra looks like he is tapped out the seed, which you know makes sense. Nothing to do except go up the tower. So he solved the puzzle.
Yeah, so it looks like that there is a forfeit for Leyra, so hopefully we'll be able to get them both into chat at the same time and see if they're willing to join us for an interview.
So that was a very, very fun contest, though. Lots of back and forth, lots of different routing, and really, two factors that probably played the most in the result of the race. Probably ended up being Solski finding the hint for the mitts, and Leyra missing the book for as long as he did, just mostly due to bad luck running out of magic his first time through.
Yeah, I mean, they went through all their bombs on that Gibdo. You know, it just 8 bombs to kill 1 Gibdo, and one location left, Zelda's cell, not the quickest one to get back to. Very understandable. It wasn't even a death; it was just they ran out of a way to kill him.
Yep, and that you got locked in the room, and you know you got to get the key off that guy, and the door opens and on you go. But so that and an unfortunate mirror location.
Okay,
do we have a Solski?
Yes, we have Solski, and we have Leyra's opting out of an interview, so we're just joined by Solski. GG's.
Thanks.
So that was a bit of an adventure, wasn't it?
Frustrating, in major parts, for sure.
So hold on a second. So both of you ended up having deaths in pretty inopportune locations for items. You died on the way up the pyramid to get to what would be the powder to the mids, and which kind of sent you off on a wild goose chase just around the world. Leyra got to the pyramid second, found that powder, and then he just ended up getting the mids. But he had a death, really unfortunate death, going to Zelda's cell, which had the book. He ran out of magic against the Gibdo in the room right before, so he couldn't actually kill it. And that's what prevented him from getting the book. And the book led to the mirror, which led to essentially the rest of the seed. So, and that was most of the difference in time. But it really was a fascinating race to watch, with the completely different routes you ended up taking, and you ended up being forced to take by deaths.
Yeah, that's basically the Randomizer classic of always make sure your resources are well kept. So especially early game, magic and bombs are so vital. And I mean, if you have bow early, then your arrows are going to be your lifeline, right? Especially in the swordless seeds. So I knew that kind of going in, and sure enough, we ran into a situation where fire rod was required in there, and it was like that's pretty funny early on. But I don't think it is actually required because you could have came back. But
well, he had
benefit.
At the time he had 6 bombs, but 6 bombs wasn't enough to kill the Gibdo. I think 8. I think it takes 8. So if he'd had 8, he would have killed the Gibdo and kept going. But
I think I was just getting more frustrated with how the seed laid out items too. You can probably see that like once I got Titans, I was like, oh okay, that's a cool hint. got my Titans from the powder. Because the first thing I said when I went to Pyramid was, I'm like, oh god, that could be something. Because I'm starting to run out of locations, and like I played a lot of Rando, and I played quite a few tournaments, and you got like this sense where you're like, something's not right. I had that twice. I had that when I got powder. I'm like, something's wrong. Why am I not like hitting progression? And the other one was like with bow. And then I'm like, there's no way I'm not like in go 1 hour 40 in. So that's why I like basically beelined when I could to Skull to face Vidya again. Luckily I knew it was there because I can like pack potions, but once I got the flute, like I knew exactly what happened. I actually expected it higher too, with ether being required, but then checkerboard just kind of made it a dud, but whatever.
Well, we actually, both of you guys had to do the Vitreous fight without the bow, obviously. We were wondering, did you, like, were you prepping for that Vitreous fight? Did you turn in the purple chest to get the extra bottle, buy bombs, to do bomb Vitreous? Were you thinking along those lines?
I actually forgot that the purple chest was a bottle until like I was almost there, and I was like, you know what, it's a good risk anyways because it gives me that third bottle that I know I have tons of cash for, and and I was hoping it was a blue. It wasn't a blue, but that was fine. But yeah, I just, again, with a lot of Randomizer experience, I know like even though I have red mail, it is swordless. And I could run into situations where I definitely am going to need that for safety. So, and sure enough, I had to use it twice. So it really did save me in the seat, I think.
Yeah, you were also the only one to get half magic, interestingly enough. Leyra could have gotten around to it. That was
automatic.
Right, yeah. Leyra ended up deciding not to route that in. He could have. There were opportunities, but probably just you get feelings. You probably get feelings of desperation the later a seed goes. Even
hence like the skip of swamp left side. What was it? What was the other one? I think Spike Cave as well. Like after Hookshot Cave. Hookshot Cave was just a debacle. I mean, I couldn't get past that BMO.
Some people were definitely curious about that because. The Beamos' hitbox is low enough to where you could have just walked that.
I mean, I didn't read that. Like, I thought it was too high, but that's just me looking at my sprite probably. But I was like, okay, can I bomb deboost? And I was like able to, but the problem was that deboosts were always too far that I was actually having to crawl back up. Like when you're on that cliff, and it just, every time it was too slow and I would get hit again. Like if I didn't do that, it would have been fine. And then I was just getting frustrated. I was like, all right, that's it. I'm going to hover this. Try to use the shield as the chest as protection, and I just couldn't get there, so I was like, whatever.
It was pretty funny to watch.
If nothing else, yeah.
If nothing else, it was fun to watch. And you hovered, the Moldorm 2 spot, and it was like, seriously? Like, you hovered that, but not the Hookshot Cave?
That's more me trying to save time, because it would be still faster than killing Moldorm and waiting for the animation, especially Hammer. Tempered Sword is really free. Hammer, just the menuing involved, and it could be a little more risky, even though I'm really comfy with Hammer or Moldorm 2, but it's always faster, especially if you don't fall, so I was just like, forget it, I'm just going to go for it.
No, it was just the contrast of how well executed that hover was after all the issues with Hookshot Cave. It was just, it put a smile on my face. I do have to ask you though. I've been dying to ask you about Swamp Palace.
Okay.
you know, you were without the gloves. That was the item that, you know, we knew was going to be an issue for you. You walk in, you see that hint, and then you just stop. And
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was really expecting, you know, at that point you would just finish swamp and then get the gloves, but you beeline for the gloves. What was your thinking there?
I knew where boots were because I knew the boot hint correlated from the mitts. Boots open up more location, boots making faster throughout the seed. And I want to save time in swamp, is particularly a swordless swamp where, like, depending on how patterns were, it would have been rough. But beelined out, figured it was worth the time investment to leave and then come back, which I still think it was, barely. But yeah, I knew exactly. That's why I made that play. It was because I knew where boots were, and it was super frustrating. By the way, to come back to see Quake, I was livid when I saw that Quake. It honestly, guys, like I always say on my stream, like I'm legendarily unlucky. This is like the seed to show me that I'm like legendarily unlucky. I die on my way to powder. I get late mitts. I leave bail on Quake. And I died at an early stab at Vidi that would have had my eventual flip 2 bow, because that would have been like an easy early check for me if I had the opportunity.
That being said, that Vidi that early on those resources would have been a Herculean effort to pull that off. I wouldn't kick yourself too much over missing that. I felt Leyra got there and just bailed. He just said, "Nah, I'm not touching this."
I felt pretty comfy just because I had 2 safeties. Like, if I had red mail, it probably would have been much better. But I think at that time, I don't remember. No, I didn't do ESF at the time because I wouldn't have passed on red mail at like Spiral. But I felt pretty comfy. But what I failed to realize was, by the way, I can't control some of my movement. And sure enough, that happened a couple times where the track was actually keeping me from walking away from Vidi. That's like the first death with the fairy, and then the second one was like the exact same thing. I just couldn't get away from the eyeballs, and it kept pulling me in.
I mean, that's a hard enough fight without the conveyor belts.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame either of you guys for coming back to that or putting it off until you absolutely had to do it. And you know, the bow was locked behind Vitreous.
Yep.
So, you know, other than buying a lot of bombs, you really had no other options. At least the game didn't make you go in the mire. I mean, it teased you there, but it gave you the bow. It took some pity on you.
I mean, again, it's just that extra element of swordless because it felt pretty free. Like, if you had like Master Temper, that fight's probably like a lot easier than it seems. But just having that hammer hitbox and having to get close, I think that's what made it so dangerous. And sure enough, again, because you said it, because the bow is locked by it, just made you work for it.
Speaking of hammer hitbox, you had 3 Helmosaurs you had to do this game.
I'm actually not sure if that's in logic, so I'd actually want to ask like Zarby, since he's done so much work on the Randomizer, if that's actually works within the logic to allow. Because I know there's some Helmosaur variants that weren't progressive, or you shouldn't be able to progress through, but it's interesting just because I know you could have gotten bow early. And I don't believe you had to face any of those Helmosaurs without the bow.
I'd have to go back and rewatch the video. I know that you had to go through 3 Helmosaurs with the hammer, and those were some pretty tough fights.
Yeah, actually, I'm almost positive you would need the bow and logic for it. I'm almost positive because that's the other thing that pulled me to Skull was it was like I've had to kill 3 or was it at the time 2 Helmas without the bow. Something's off. That was like the other thing was it was really late and I had to do that. I was like, something doesn't feel right.
So this win moves you to 4-4 in the group if everything's updated properly.
Yeah, it's been rough.
It's been hard on all. It's been hard on all of you. It looks like.
Yeah, it's a really tight bracket. I mean, when they did the pre-show, they said it was like probably the group to watch in the toughest year. I honestly think it is. You got like 6 good competitors in this group. It's really tight. I think Ak probably has the best chance of running away with it, like point wise, just because he only has like I think the 1 loss. But
Ak's
myself, Leyra, JDB, like we're all like super close. I think we're almost all on top of each other for points right now, and it's getting pretty close to it. So
Yeah, Ack's gonna have a pretty big hand in how this group eventually goes because he's sitting at 5-1.
Yeah,
which means he's only played 6 races, so he's still got a ton to do.
I mean, I'm more worried about he's just a boy in Leyra. I'm just gonna take all 3 wins off Hack. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm more worried about.
That's a good plan. Go with that.
Yeah, I'm more worried about like my races. Like I know Leyra is really, really good, and I knew like once we got him as the 3rd seed, I was like, it's gonna be disgusting. But you know what? I don't know if I'd be lying if I said I was having fun just because it's a tournament and I try to take him a little seriously with prep, and I haven't done that this tournament, which is kind of reflecting my play. But you know what? Seeds like this, bad item placement aside, was like a lot of fun. Like I love Randomizer, so it was like a pretty funny pick that Leyra picked it against me, but it's all good.
I mean, with all the time that you lost with the mitts, it was actually not too far off in the end there. Leyra got the 7th crystal just as you were finishing, and that's including a full clear desert, and then all the mirror lock locations getting booked so late in the game. It could have been a very, very close race. So I don't have any more questions. Sports Hefe, how about you?
Nah, I think we've covered all the bases. This was a great race. Congratulations, Solski, on the win, and good luck going forward.
Yeah, and like shoutouts and GGs again to Leyra. Like really strong opponent, and looking forward to Game 3 on Monday. So that's gonna be a great race, I think.
Well, GG's again to both of our runners, and there are links in Twitch chat to give both Leyra and Solski follows. I'll finish up by thanking our tracker, Iceman F1, for doing a great job keeping us honest there, and Sports Hefe for my co-coms. That's all I have, and last words can go to you.
All right, this was fun. Good job, everybody involved. Follow Tiruriku at twitch.tv/Tiruriku, and follow Iceman F1, and obviously the runners, Solski and LeyraGG. And follow the Speed Gaming Network channels for more randomizer action. And I think we're going to call it a night right there, at least for this race. It's been a pleasure, everybody, and have a good night.